and welcome to my top most anticipated reads of 2021. I am super excited to be telling you the books that I cannot wait for 2021 because there are some amazing releases. 2020 had some cracking book releases, like really strong book releases. But 2021 promises to bring some amazing sequels to series, and I am very hyped. So I'm going to go through all of them in rough date order. Obviously, date order is difficult when you're doing this kind of thing because publications can quite regularly be changed. The world is unstable and unsure, and we don't know what that means. So some of these dates may well change, but this is the closest dates I could find. So I'm going to try and do this in chronological order, and hopefully it sticks like that. First up is Lore by Alexandra Bracken. This one comes out on the 5th of January, so I think this is probably out by the time you're watching this video. But this follows the world in which 9 Greek gods are sent down to Earth as punishment for something that happened to them years ago. And basically they are being given the opportunity to be hunted and killed by some families on Earth who have beef with them, I think. And we follow Lore as she tries to band together with a couple of Greek god related people and seek some vengeance on a time that she was wronged. I think. I'm super bad at giving descriptions of these kind of things because I have this thing where I read a blurb and then 2 seconds later it just falls out my brain. But I am super excited because I love anything Greek mythology. Cannot wait to read this one. So excited that we get this one in January as well because we're already starting the year off to a really great start. I loved the Passenger series by Alexandra Bracken. She wrote a historical fantasy very well and it just felt so interesting. It was more of a time travel-y fantasy, I suppose, and historical fantasy, but I am so hyped to see what she does with Lore. On the 26th of January, we have got The Mask Falling by Samantha Shannon. This is the 4th book in the Bone Season series, and I am actually excited for this one. I have read the Bone Season, the first book, 3 times. I have read the Mime Order half. I am, as filming this at the moment, currently rereading the Mime Order, and I say rereading, I only got halfway through because I think at the time I was first reading it, something really exciting turned up in the post, and I picked that up instead, and I never continued with the series. But seeing how much everyone is excited for The Mask Falling and seeing how emotional people are getting over it, I want to be there for that hype. So I am going to have finished or be up to date with what is 3 books in the series so far by the time this one comes out. So I'm very excited. I've got no idea what it's about because obviously that would be spoilers for me for what I haven't yet read, but I cannot wait, and the cover is beautiful. Then we have got on the same day A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Kemmerer. The same day, they're 2 huge releases within the fantasy world if you are into those kind of books. A Vow So Bold and Deadly is the 3rd book in the A Curse So Dark and Lonely series, which is also followed by A Heart So Fierce and Broken. The names always slip together as one in my head. I cannot wait for this one. I have read the 2nd book again in preparation for this one. I was meant to be receiving an ARC, but I think it got lost in the post, which is really sad, unless it's arrived by the time you're watching this, which would be incredibly exciting, in which case I will drop everything and read it because I cannot wait. This is one of my top anticipated releases of the year. I cannot wait to see where we go with Ren and Grey within this storyline. Again, it's super hard to give synopsises for later books in a series because I don't want to give any spoilers if you've not seen the series at all. So, not seen, read. It's not a TV show, it's a book. So read this series, then read the 3rd one because it's sure to be brilliant. Then on the 12th of February, we've got Across the Green Grass Fields by Shannon Maguire. Shannon Maguire writes the Wayward Children's series, which I have been obsessed with ever since the first one. I cannot wait for them each year. I listen to the audiobook. They're very short, so they really aren't too long to get through, but they all follow separate stories of children who have gone through doors to other worlds and then have to come back, and they follow a different child or group of children each time. Sometimes we follow people we don't know, sometimes we follow new characters that have been brought in at the end of the last book, sometimes we follow characters we're familiar with, and I just love the idea for this. It's essentially if Alice was having a story told from her perspective, having come back from Wonderland, it's that kind of thing. And I think this next one is set in a world where there are a lot of magical equine creatures such as centaurs, and unicorns are kind of equine, aren't they? I don't know. Magical horse-like creatures, and I'm so excited to see where we go with this one. The cover looks very green and grassy. I prefer the lighter lands. There are some of the books that are very dark and I don't like those ones quite as much as I do the more happy, brighter ones. So I'm very excited to see where we go with this one, and that, as I said, is the 12th of February. Then, and what is going to be and is my most anticipated release of the year so far, Coming out on the 16th of February, we have got A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas. I am hyped. I am so excited for this one. This is Nesta's story, Feyre's sister. It's within the Court of Thorns and Roses world. We get to see Nesta's side of things, we get to see Cassian, we get to see everybody, and I'm so excited. I have been waiting for this book for what seems like forever. I love Sarah J Maas's writing, and I feel like a lot of people group Sarah J Maas within like this guilty pleasures box, and I'm not putting her there. I just think she writes fun Fae stories. And yes, there are things that are cringy or flawed about them, but ultimately they're fun books, they entertain me. This one is going to be no different. I am rereading the whole of the entire series of A Court of Thorns and Roses to get to this point, just so I'm completely up to date. I know that it's a different storyline we're following, but I just want to be fresh, and I'm absolutely loving doing a reread. So cannot wait for that one on the 16th of February, that cannot come soon enough. Moving into April, we have got Witches Steeped in Gold coming out on the 20th, and I hope I'm pronouncing the author's name right, but it's by Shannon Smart. I don't know if it's pronounced Shannon or not, because Shannon is usually with an S. I don't know. I did Google it and I couldn't find any pronunciations, so I'm so sorry if that's wrong. But this one looks really, really good. It is a Jamaican-inspired fantasy in which magic is like reigning supreme, but there's also a storyline of betrayal. I've seen a lot of people receiving the arc of this one and saying it's really good, and I have to say I'm definitely jumping aboard that kind of hype train in thinking I think this is going to be really good too. I'm excited, it looks great, it looks like a good YA fantasy, and I am definitely here for reading more of those because we like the YA fantasy on this channel, we like any fantasy. Then on the 29th of April, we have got a new Beth O'Leary book, which is The Road Trip. This is an adult contemporary following a group of friends who I believe are on their way to a wedding. They're all stuck in a car together, including an ex-partner, and that is the book, the journey of them getting there, and I suppose the conflict and awkwardness that comes with being in that car with the different relationships that they have with each other. I'm excited. I really enjoyed The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary, and I have her other book, The Switch, on my TBR, but The Flat Share really captivated me this summer, so I think that The Road Trip will definitely have that same jolly, positive, yet funny and dramatic vibe as far as a contemporary can be dramatic. Then going into May, on May 27th, we've got Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have read a few of her books now and I'm just in awe of her writing style. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo was just phenomenal, blew me away. Daisy Jones and the Six, also absolutely amazing, unique, brilliant. Also really enjoyed One True Loves by her. But Malibu Rising, it seems to be the story of a party that everyone's very, very excited for. Lots of different people from the family and friends are there. There are some secrets, and then in the morning, the place the party was hosted has gone up in flames, and there are underlying secrets and things that I suppose the book is going to work out. It sounds really good. It sounds right up my street, exactly what you kind of expect from Taylor Jenkins Reid. She doesn't just go down the straight and narrow path. She sends you on a journey. So I cannot wait to see where we go with this one, and I am so, so ready for it. Then going into June, on the 16th of June, we have got My Contrary Mary. I'm gonna have to read all the authors' names out because there's a few. This is by Cynthia Hand, Brodie Ashton and Jodie Meadows. This is part of the My Lady Jane by Calamity Jane, I don't know what the series is called, but they basically look at moments in history, women in history, and they give them a comical spin on their story. I adored My Lady Jane from them, which was all about Jane Grey, and they completely put a comical spin on what is a very tragic story. So this one follows Mary, Queen of Scots, because as writers they come together so well and just make this unique story, and I cannot wait to see how that transpires with Mary, Queen of Scots. Then on the 27th of September, we've got Empire of the Vampire by J. Christoph. I have not yet completed a J. Christoph book that I have truly enjoyed. I did not like Illuminae, and I have never finished Nevernight, but that is not because I didn't enjoy it. It was one of those times when I was just reading it at the wrong point and it wasn't gripping me, but I can see that I would like it at another point. So I'm willing to go in again with a completely different book about vampires. I'm always kind of skeptical about vampires because it seems like they're either really spoofy or just not my kind of thing, so I'm intrigued to see what kind of vampires he portrays. I think J. Christoph's done a video himself saying it's a little bit more of a racy, saucy type of storyline. Possibly. Obviously it's going to be high on fantasy elements as well, but it's good to know that it's definitely more of an adult audience because, as I've said before, I'm getting more into adult than I am YA. And in fact, I assume this is just an adult book rather than YA completely. I don't know why it would be YA. I'm assuming it's adult. Is it? I don't know. I'm just talking myself into a hole here. I don't know too much about this book. but I'm excited. Then on the 30th of September, we have got Stephanie Garber's latest novel, Out of the Caraval World, which is Once Upon a Broken Heart. And I believe this one follows Jax. And I am very ready for this because the Caraval world is just so expansive and brilliant. And I have got my Waterstones special edition pre-ordered of this book because I cannot wait to read it. And I think this is going to be one that I put everything down to pick up when it comes out. So very, very, very ready for that one. Excited to see where Stephanie Garber takes this story, and I'm excited to see more from Jax as well. Then on the 26th of October, we've got Kingdom of the Curse, which is the sequel to Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerry Maniscalco. I need this book. The last one ended in a place where I just need the sequel right now. I bet you by the time the sequel comes out, I'm gonna need to reread the first book because I'll have read so much in between then I'll have just forgotten it. But right now, I need it. This is a really interesting fantasy world in which there are these 7 princes of hell. So we've got like wrath, greed, pride, and they're all inspired by these 7 deadly sins. And it's just very different to other YA fantasy of the genre that I've read. So for me, I like the fact that it's not predictable. I am very intrigued to see where it goes, and I cannot wait for the sequel. On the 28th of October, we have got Midnight in Everwood by M.A. Kuznia. I adored this. I have been lucky enough to read this one already, but you can bet it's still going on my most anticipated books list because I cannot wait for everyone else to read it. It's superb. It's a Nutcracker retelling. It is perfect for Christmas time, so if you do get this one, at the end of October, you will be at the ideal spot to read it going into November and December. It's beautiful, it's magical, and it's for fans of the Night Circus and Caraval, and I honestly just can't recommend it enough. So please, please pre-order this because yes. Also, I have a feeling the cover is going to be stunning. They haven't released the cover yet, but if the arcs are anything to go by, the cover's going to be beautiful. And finally, on the 16th of November, we've got Our Violent Ends, which is the sequel to These Violent Delights. Obviously, the quote is something like, "These violent delights have violent ends," or something. So I don't know if this is a duology or not. I probably should have checked that before, but this is a Romeo and Juliet retelling. The first one was brilliant. It was set in 1920 Shanghai, and I am very, very attached to the characters. I'm not going to say who they are because I don't want to give it any sort of spoilers, but I am excited to see where these 2 characters go in the next book because I need more from them. So I'm really excited for that one as well. And that is the last book within my 2021 anticipated releases. I don't know if I've missed any off. I probably have. I'll probably see some later on in the week and think, damn it, I should have added those in. But these are all the ones that I could think of when I was making this list, and I've been gradually making this over the past few days. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. Maybe you've got some books to add to your wish list or pre-order. Obviously pre-orders are really, really great for authors because they can really help them. So if you are in a position where you're able to pre-order a book, do, because you'll help them get their numbers up, and then you won't have to worry about it when it actually comes to releasing it and remembering whether you've ordered it or not. I have this issue that I keep pre-ordering and forgetting I've pre-ordered, so maybe make a list. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below telling me the books that you're really excited about for 2021. You can subscribe to see me reading all of these books, but for now, thank you guys so much for watching. Please keep smiling, stay positive, and I hope you have a really great 2021 and enjoy every single book you read.